Morning, class. As you can tell, I am not here today, but I do have a video for you today that you guys will be going over and working on together. So to start out the lesson, I would like for you to evaluate the expression, see if you can figure out 2 times 2 times 5 plus 2 times 2 times 3 plus 2 times 5 times 3. Give me an answer for that, and please pause the video. Have students work on these. They can work with people around them and restart the video when they have that answers. Hopefully you had some time to do these problems. As you can see up here, 2 times 2 is 4, times 5 is 20, so this one is 20. 2 times 2 is 4, times 3 is 12. 2 times 5 is 10, times 3 is 30. So 30 plus 20 is 50, plus the 12 should give us our answer of 62. And you can do that with all of these. This one's 8, this one is 4, and this one is 16, total of 28. Right here I've got 36, 24, and 6 gives us 54. 42, 30, 70 for a total of 142. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 16. And we have another one of the same problem, so we've got a 16 there. That gives us our answer of 40. Over here, I've got 64. I've got 80. And I've got 160 for a total of 304. So as you can see, we've evaluated these expressions. We'll be using some things with some similar problems like this today. So the essential question in our lesson today is, how can you find the surface area of a prism? So first off, we have to know what a prism is. You can think of it as a cube is a prism. We can also have something like a Kleenex box would be a prism. A pizza box might be a prism. We can also have a thing called a triangular prism, and that'll have a little bit different areas with that as well that I will show you coming up. But those will have 2 triangle bases, and it will have 3 other sides. So we'll be talking about the surface area of a prism. And remember, when we talk about surface area, that is the outside of that and how much space that takes up on each of those sides. We're not talking yet about how much it will hold. We are just talking about the surface area. How much does it take to make a box? Does it take to make a triangular prism? So we are going to be using the workbook today, lesson 9.1. I do have some copies of that if you need one in a packet. So please pass those out. Pause the video while you do that. And then when you are ready, please restart the video and we will continue. So in this beginning example, this is a net for a rectangular prism. And basically what it is if we were to pull this rectangular prism apart, we would have something that look like this. Obviously, you can see the sides. You can see some things on that as well. So you can see that when we just pull that apart, that's kind of what it looks like. So what I want you to try to do is to label each side as height, width, or length, and then use your drawing to write a formula for the surface area of the rectangular prism. Please pause the video, and when we come back, we will have it. So as you can see, that we have these 2 that happen to be the same size, these 2 that happen to be the same size, and these 2 that happen to be the same size. So right here, this shape, this would be a height, and this would be a width. So we have that piece right in front is this one, and we also believe that this one is the height, and this one would be the width. Now, right here in the middle, we have this big one that's right here, and we had a height right there for this side. So this one will then be a length. So we know that that is a length. This would also be a length right here. And then we would have this one be a height. So these two pieces right there are this one and the one on the other side, which you cannot see. Lastly, we know that we have a length right here. And then we're going to have this distance. And it looks to me like that would be on the bottom. So we would have a width here. And we already have the length there. So this could be another length if you wanted to call that. And we would have the same thing on this side. So this is going to be the width. And we would have the length. So we are going to have two of something that has the height times the width. So we've got 2 times the height times the width. We also have 2 times the length times the width. And we also have 2 times the length times the height. And in this case, what we have to do is we have to add them all together. So it's taking me a little bit to write this, but once we get 2 times the height times the width, we add that to 2 times the length times the width, and we add that to 2 times the length times the height. So this would be a formula that we would have for a rectangular prism. We could also use it for a cube, but all of these would also be the same sides. So we could do length times width and then times 6. So our next one is a prism, but this time it is a triangular prism because we have the base of a triangle on top and on bottom. So these two are going to be our bases that are triangular prisms. And so what I want you to do is to figure out if you can come up with this, and then if you can add up the area of the two bases and add that to the sides of the lateral sides. Please pause the video, see what you can come up with on this to find the area of each of these 5 different shapes. So when looking at the area of this, I know that this looks like a square to me. So we would take the length times the width. So this one would be 9 units. We have looks like a rectangle over here, which is 4. I also know that this side is 3, So 4 times 3, this one would be 12 square units. In the middle, I have another rectangle. This side is 5. The height of this is 3. So this one would be worth 15 square units. Now, our last one that we have to deal with are these 2 triangles down here. And what I know about triangles is, since it is a right triangle, I know that this is going to be, or could be, a base, and this could be the height. But this also could be the base, and this could be height. So we're not going to use the 5 in the triangle, but we take 1/2 of 3 times 4. So this would be 6. And we have the same thing down here. So 1/2 of the base times the height, which is 1/2 of 12. And this is 6. So what we then need to do is we need to add. This is 6 plus 6 is 12. Plus 12 is 24. These two add up to 24. So our answer would be 48 square units. Why is it square units? Because they don't tell us if it is meters, feet, inches, whatever. So we just have to call it square units. And as you can see, we can write square units just like that. So our answer is 48 square units. Again, finding the surface area of each individual piece and then adding them all together. This is a triangular prism because we have triangles as the base. In our next example, they ask us to draw each prism. I've drawn the first one. Actually, the book drew the first one for you. This is 4 by 3 by 2, and they want you to find the surface area of each prism. So see if you can do A, B, C, and D, and then come up with the surface area of each of those. Remember, when we are looking at surface area, we are looking at what it takes to cover the outside of this shape. So as I can see here, I have a 4 by 3 on the outside, 4 by 3. So on my top is 12, but there are 2 of them because we have one on the bottom. So the 4 by 3s give me 24 total on those 2 sides. On the front, I have a 4 by 2. A 4 by 2 is 8. There's 8 more on the other side, so we have 16. On the sides, I have a 3 by 2. That's 6. There's 2 sides again, so this makes 12. So when we add these up, we should have our answer of 52 square inches or units or whatever we're calling them at that time. In the next one, what you would have is 1 by 1 by 24 long. So on the top, you would have a 1 by 24, and on the bottom, so you would have 48. On the 2 sides, you would have 24 and 24 for 48 also. And on the ends, you're going to have 1 each for a total of 2. So when you get done with that answer, you will have 98 square units. In this one, we're going to have a 1 by 2 by 12. So I would have a 1 by 2 on the sides, which would be 2s. There are 2 of those, so we will have 4. We will have a 2 by 12, which is 24. There are 2 of those, which gives me 24 times 2, which gives me the 48. And then on the other side, I will have a 1 by 12, which is 12, times the 2 gives me a total of 24. And when I add those together, I get 12, 16, and I will have a total of 76 square units. In our last example, we will have a 1 by 3, which is 3. There are 2 sides of that, so that gives us 6. We will have a 3 by 8, which is 24. There are 2 of those, so we will have a total of 48 of those. And then we will have a 1 by 8, which is 8 times the 2, which will give us 16. And when I add up the 6, 16, and 48, I should get 70. Hopefully you were able to see how we got those and be able to solve them on your own. So as a quick reminder for today, the surface area of any prism is the sum of the areas of the bases and its lateral faces. So the bases, most of the time in a rectangular prism, are rectangles. All the lateral faces are the sides. And in a triangular prism, our bases are triangles, and then we will have 3 other lateral faces. So for your homework today, I want you to try to do workbook page 188. Problems number 1 and 4 are rectangular prisms, so there will be a total of 6 sides that you will have to add up. The rest of them, numbers 2, 3, and 5, they are triangular prisms, so there will actually only be 5 sides, 2 triangles and 3 rectangles. You may use a calculator, but you must show your work. This will be turned in on Tuesday, and I will be back on Tuesday to complete this lesson and make sure that you have a great understanding. Have a great day, and we will see you on Tuesday.